Oh my word, video is so hard. I've spent the last month telling myself that my very first project on my very first day of self-employment would be to start a video log of my journey for the future me, as the past me, and for the future you. But in the tangible reminder of what life of an entrepreneur is, it started with procrastination. I just planned all weekend on starting at 8:30 a.m. with a video log, and at 9 o'clock I'm finally getting started because I missed one piece of the tripod puzzle that meant that I had to scour the whole house before jimmy rigging a alternative option that will be just as memorable in the future. On February 5th, 2018, I am officially starting my world as an entrepreneur. I first dreamed of it 9 years ago when I was living the life of a U.S. congressional assistant and dreaming of a world that was bigger than my desk job. I moved to Africa 9 years ago this week with the goal of being a documentary photographer who would be able to see the world through my camera and help my missionary cousin be able to document her work and her husband's work overseas. Life has had a wide variety of twists and turns, and when I think of what I want my former self to know about the future self's world, there's just a couple of oddities that I want to make sure to demonstrate and to recognize that, number one, timing is everything. I was not ready 9 years ago to be a self-employed full-time entrepreneur. I wasn't ready 3 years ago. I wasn't ready 5 years ago. But today I'm ready. Why? Well, as life happens, as people come and go into my world, as circumstances change and mold me, I can know that each of the challenges, each of the circumstances that I faced along the way have molded me to who I am today and have molded me into the Jennifer who's ready to be a full-time photographer and entrepreneur. Now, I'm not going to remember that all the time. In fact, I've forgotten that at least 3 times already this morning. Did I mention it's only 9 a.m.? But as the people around me are celebrating what I'm doing, as I'm armed with a plan and action points to move forward, I know that timing is everything, and I'm here ready to do this. Number 2, my life as a photographer is only one piece of my life as an entrepreneur. When that shift happened in my brain, instead of me thinking through my experiences and my plans as an artist, I now think of through my plans and my dreams as an entrepreneur. My business is key. Right now, my business is photography. But someday along the way, I imagine that that's going to look a little bit different. My heart as an entrepreneur, my goals as a businesswoman, those are what are driving me. And right now, it's applying to photography. But the shift into readiness for full-time self-employment was not because suddenly I learned the latest gadget, not because I learned what an aperture was or how a shutter speed or how to use light. No, my readiness as a photographer began when I shifted the thought process from photography as art to photography as business. That business trumps everything, and that right now my outpouring of business is in photography. Number 3, when God throws open a door and pushes you out into your dream, He's not going to make it easy. It won't be any less scary or any less overwhelming. In fact, I think it might be even more scary and even more overwhelming knowing that now is the time and that I can't turn around, I can't go back. I think of when my dad moved us to Kenya. I guess that was 15 years ago now. And he tells this story of how he was so confident that this is what he was supposed to do. And yet the angst of that day packing up his family, the angst of that day of getting on the airplane, of landing into a new city and going, what on earth have I done? I feel that today. I feel that angst. I feel the fear. I'm not even sure how I'm going to make it through. But I am so excited and confident to know that God has thrown open the doors. He's pushed me out. And now I get to do this by His power and His strength, and one little tiny step at a time. One of the key things that I was so encouraged by yesterday at church was that a fellow businessman came up to me and he goes, "I'm so excited for you, but I am so sorry." And I kind of was like, what? That's just a little blunt or bold, or should I be offended by this? But no, he was speaking out of experience and compassion and saying, "Hey Jennifer, you've got this, but it's gonna be so hard." So, future self, remember, it was really, really hard. Former self, remember, you got here only by one step at a time. So what am I doing on my very first day, self-employed, full-time entrepreneur? Bookkeeping. Now, if you told me 9 years ago that was what I was going to do when I started my career as a full-time photographer, I think I would have laughed in your face and probably run the other way. But for today, I'm setting into a hearty day of bookkeeping as the first step of what I'm doing with this new season of my life, preparing for a year